The stampede, ladies and gentlemen. The chariots are rolling. The horses are running. The cavalry is here. There's been a man who, for decades, actually, has been at the lead of that cavalry long before it was actually popular to do so. Is a man who actually, ironically, and I say this as a term of endearment, was slapped down on a presidential immunity case against Bill Clinton in a very creepy sock drawer challenge about Bill Clinton's files that he kept inside of a filthy sock drawer. That if you hit it with a ultraviolet light, man, you'd go blind. So what do we have here? We have the great Tom Fitton from Judicial Watch with the blinding truth on the program live now. Tom, I can't help myself with the sock drawer stuff. I can't. As soon as I read about all that, and I didn't know about it until a couple of years ago, I can't help myself. You're the only guy that has the cojones to go after Bill Clinton's sock drawer. And you lost on immunity.
Even worse, what else was in the sock drawer?
Yeah, asking the tough questions, Tom. I'm correct that you lost that on an immunity grounds.
Yeah, kind of an immunity grounds. The court said, "What are we going to do? Raid the former president's home for records?"
Yes,
that's what the court said in defending Bill, and of course, the Justice Department agreed at the time and didn't want us to get the records either. So, of course, things went 180, right? When Trump came in and they ignored their own prior practice, that key precedent, and raided Trump's home. We blew the whistle on it, and, we haven't stopped yelling about it ever since. We lost using the Justice Department's arguments that they're now trying to jail Trump on, which also may suffer a significant setback based on today's ruling, because did the President Trump make those decisions to take those documents as president? Wasn't that an official act? The delineation of his presidential records? Methinks yes.
Of course. So let's jump into that. I mean, this must be you got a Judicial Watch. I don't see any popped champagne bottles or confetti yet, but what an incredible vindication over the last couple of releases from the Supreme Court. Today you must be whistling Dixie.
It's kind of a vindication, not of Trump, but of really the Constitution.
Yes.
If the president has immunity while he's in office, how could he not have immunity the day after he leaves office for official acts? And who's going to prosecute him even if he didn't have immunity? The next president? Why would that immunity only begin, or why would that immunity even happen during his presidency? They say he has immunity while he's in office. Well, why? And the Supreme Court said why, and said it doesn't end after he leaves office, because to let it end after he leaves office essentially guts the whole idea. And so the deep state can't engage in sedition against the sitting president or wait till he leaves office to retaliate against him, which is what's happened with Trump. Now, is it going to stop everything that's happening against Trump? Probably not. They're fanatics going after Trump. This is why they've lost at the Supreme Court not once but twice on key issues. 3 issues, actually, now, when you consider the crazy effort to keep him off the ballot. So they're going to go back before Judge Chutkan and try to argue down in Miami before Judge Cannon. Oh, well, these weren't really official acts that he did. And, the court said we could look at his tweets. And we can't imagine why a president of the United States would have any interest in a federal election being run well and the accurate results being vindicated by Congress through the electoral system set up under the Constitution. That can't be official. So they're going to try to run those silly arguments. I'm sure Judge Chutkan's going to buy some of them, and it will be back up before the court before you know it. So they'll continue to harass him, but it's a major victory. When these people came in and said it wasn't, you could be prosecuted as a president over your discussions with your vice president, over your discussions as to who to pick as attorney general. It's insanity. Why is anyone surprised the Supreme Court ruled this way?
What do you say to the 3 justices on the far left wing of the Supreme Court that seemingly attempted or wished to gut all presidential immunity today. I hear
Excuse
that
me,
decision is.
I'm wiping away my tears of
I hear that I hear that dissent is unhinged, and that they're effectively arguing that Barack Obama should go to Gitmo for nuking a American teenager with a drone.
But of course, they know that's never going to be the case. This was an anti-Trump decision. They don't want to uniformly apply it. It's clear because the logic of it is, as you say, Benny, Biden can be prosecuted for all of his acts related to the border. Obama can be prosecuted for his sedition against Trump and his spying on Trump. And they don't believe that, obviously. But they're pretending Trump is the worst. So they're willing to blow up our constitutional structure of government to get Trump. And that's what this is about. This is, the left always says, you remember up in New York, the governor said after that crazy $500 million fine by the Democrat Gorin up there, the judge, she reassured businesses, oh no, this is only about Trump.
Yes.
And so that's how you have to read this decision. How dare you give Trump a get out of jail free card because, we don't think he deserves it. Other presidents might, but not him.
So, something that is really important that you brought up that we haven't discussed yet or really investigated is the application to the documents case. And since you brought it up, I'd love to have you expand on that. How does this apply to the raid on Donald Trump and to the documents case that is ongoing in Florida? Seemingly not going well, according to every report that we've got, but nonetheless, the government pushes forward. How does this apply to Donald Trump and his handling of his own documents post-presidency?
His decision to keep records as presidential versus personal are quintessential official acts. And they were done when he was president. That's what was alleged seemingly in the indictment, if I recall correctly. So I don't know how that withstands scrutiny under this new decision. But I'm sure there'll be lots of arguments about it. And of course, the Fannie Willis case, to the degree it's on life support, is they're turning off the they're withdrawing the feeding tubes now.
So yeah, we see a state of complete collapse. The proposition that has been floated now twice is that day one of a Donald Trump administration, that these charges either get shelved because you can't prosecute a sitting president, so constitutionally they just go away, or that an attorney general dismisses them outright. Your speculation on what happens day one of a new Trump term as president?
Well, I hope whoever is the acting AG at the time immediately dismisses any pending cases. And if I were President Trump, and I would appoint a special prosecutor to investigate this whole targeting of him and other innocent Americans in retaliation for the exercise of his First Amendment and the First Amendment rights of other Americans. And this special prosecutor should not be part of the Justice Department. It should be separate and apart. I'd run it out of Florida if I were him, or base him in Florida. That's where Trump lived, and that's where he was victimized. And investigate the investigators. Investigate the Justice Department's abuse of power here. Investigate their collusion with Fannie Willis. Investigate Letitia James. All of these folks abused their powers, in my view, to deprive Trump of his civil rights under the color of law. And in the least, there needs to be an investigation there.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch, somebody who I know has the president's ear, somebody who I think Donald Trump just gave an address to your group at Mar-a-Lago over the weekend. And hopefully he listens to your advice on this issue, because I'd love to see that happen. Tom Fitton, everybody go ahead and follow Tom. Obviously, millions and millions of Americans can't be wrong. Patriot. And a man who scares the left probably more than anyone in Washington, D.C., currently in Washington, D.C. right now. Tom, thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Godspeed.